I'm Tracy Kryling, back for another segment of So Fun March 2020. So we're going to start with this adorable little quilt called Corners by Molly Cook of Villa Rosa Designs. I love these little patterns. They are great for charity quilts. They're fast usually. They don't take a lot of fabric. They're little scraps. This one is just a baby size. So I made it with some fabric that I had out of my room, some of my private stash. I love the ABCs that are in here. The polka dot fabric is always awesome. I quilted it with variegated thread. If you don't want to use a focus fabric here, you could do some adorable little embroidery designs. Some ABCs would be great in here, just the perfect size for it. I put Minky on the back and it just makes it super soft, so the new baby will just love this, and mom will like sitting there rocking the baby and petting the Minky also. So this is Corners by Molly Cook and Villa Rosa Designs. This next quilt is, I think, my new favorite. It's Quick Tangled Triangles by Two Quick Quilters. Try and say that 3 times fast, or even once. So it went together fairly easily. They're all the same block. They are done with a 60-degree ruler. This is an 8.5 inch one. This pattern comes in 5 sizes, from wall quilt to king size quilt. So for the wall hanging, you're cutting 2.5 inch 60-degree triangles. The one I made, I cut 4.5 60-degree triangles. This is the lap quilt. I used a lot of my black and white scraps, and then the red I actually had in my stash also. So here it is. I love the way the triangles kind of are tangled up inside each other. You do want to label everything. There are 9 fabrics in this quilt, and you need to label everything because it does get a little confusing if you don't have them in the right order. But I didn't have to rip out too much stuff, so that's always a good thing. But that's the Quick Tangled Triangles quilt. Since that is all 60-degree triangles, everything is on the bias. So I tried this new product. It's called Flatter by Soak. So you spray it on, iron it, and it's basically a little like best press. Kind of calms them down a little bit, so when you're sewing it all together, you don't have all the bias edges. So we have 3 different flavors here: Pineapple Grove, Celebration, and Lacy. We're gonna give away some prizes now. Are you ready? From Aurora, we have Mary Shade wins some perfect grip tape for your embroidery machine. Pamela Scott from Colorado Springs wins some embellished tweezers. Nikki Patton from Littleton will win Quilter Select ruler handle. And Cynthia Stribling from Arvada wins an embellished seam ripper. Stick around, see if you won in the next drawing. This is called Thread Magic. This is great when you're sewing your binding on by hand. Since I made these quilts for me or family members, I do sew the binding to the front on the machine, flip it to the back, and sew it on by hand. And this stuff is some sort of magic concoction. You run your thread through here, and then it doesn't get tangled up when you're doing your hand binding. So it's really cool. What's great is it also has this little tiny thing that will run on your sewing machine. So if you're using metallic thread or thread that is just not behaving, put this by your sewing machine and it will help your thread behave in your machine. You won't have breakage or anything like that. So this is called Thread Magic, and it works great when you're doing your binding by hand. Then this next quilt is called Rue 1800 by my 3 sisters. We have the entire kit here for you. This had all of the fabric to make this quilt, do the binding. I made 4 placemats with it, and I still have leftover fabric. So you don't have to worry about miscutting something and not having enough fabric to cut out. These are out of the book from the table runner book I showed last time. So you can cut up the table runners, make them into 4 placemats instead of just a table runner. And then here is the quilt. I love my 3 sisters fabric. It's like my favorite. You guys see it all the time when I do So Fun. This is it. I did ruler work quilting for the first time. That's interesting. Little challenging, but not hard. I did it on my long arm. I have a handy quilter. I use their handy gripper stuff on the back of the rulers. It goes on the table. You just kind of go slowly, use your ruler foot, and kind of go around the edges It looks really cool with all the arcs on the back of the quilt. You can see it a lot better. But it wasn't hard to do ruler work, it just takes a little bit longer. So this is the Rue 1800 by my three sisters, and my new favorite quilt, I think. So thanks for watching. All of this is available online, and don't forget, you get a discount today.